How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Airsoft Boneyard build where I pick up a non-working Airsoft replica. I try and fix it up as cheaply as I possibly can. I use it in a game and then I sell it on to try and make a profit on it. When I saw the advert for this, I got a little bit excited, and my excitement was very short-lived. I initially thought it was a Novridge SSG 24 with a possible full thrust kit in it. I saw this colour in the very poor quality photo. I thought, is that a full thrust kit? Alas, it wasn't a Novridge SSG 24. On the drive home, I thought, what have I got here then? Have I got a modified Mod 24 maybe? Closer inspection and a little bit of research, I realised all I've got is a bloody Cyma CM702. Never mind, I thought, the price still isn't too bad for what I thought I had to do to this to get it up and running. Everything's kind of like looked like it was all there anyway, with a box of bits and pieces. So what we've got here, we've got the Cyma stock. Now this is quite a nice stock. It's hardly got, well, it's not got a mark on it really. I don't think this rifle's been used very much. And then we've got the outer barrel there with the inner barrel inside it. The hop unit and the inner barrel is flopping about inside there. It came with this scope, which is a very horrible scope. It's just quite poor quality. It's a pinty scope. Then we have the cylinder, the bolt assembly, the receiver, the trigger, etc. Now this is where our problems lie. First thoughts were that cylinder sits very loosely in the receiver, so we're missing a guide ring in there, so I'm gonna have to pick up a guide ring. Then I tried to cock it, and as you can see, it's not very smooth. And there as well, we can see we've got a problem with the cylinder. And this isn't a massive deal breaker. It doesn't mean a new cylinder, because this part of the cylinder doesn't rely on sealing air at all. Now if this was up, further up here, it would it would mess about with the air seal on it. So then you cock it and can't get it back in. It really is grindy and stiff. So that is probably to do with that cylinder. But fingers crossed, we still don't need a new cylinder. And that's as far as the bolt will go forward without forcing it too much. But then the problem is with the trigger as well. Even in this state, I should be able to pull the trigger. But there's just nothing. There's just nothing there. It's nothing to do with the safety lever at all. There's just nothing there. Right, this is all now on tension, so this is going to be really dodgy to take this apart. So I'm going to have to be extremely careful. So what I'm going to do is just loosen off the trigger a little bit by undoing these two screws. And it might go off. It's going to make me shit when it goes off, no doubt. All right, we'll just loosen them off a little bit. Right, here goes. This is going to pop and shit, make me shit. Now I need to mind my fingers. There we go. Whoa, yeah, there we go. The pressure's been released. So yeah, big problem there somewhere. Let's get this trigger off now. In all, it looks to be not in bad condition. I don't really... Oh, where's that screw gone? It's gone inside the cylinder. There we go. If I can somehow knock this dent out and straighten that up, make it more tubular again, shall we say, all I need to do is to allow this piston to travel down here freely. I think that is what the problem is, that the piston just can't move because of this dent in it. So hopefully that is our problem. Let's get this piston and spring guide out of here then. The cylinder head is quite loose on there. We've got a bearing spring guide on there in 3 pieces. So yeah, we're missing a guide ring. We've got a guide ring this end. That one can't come out anyway very easily unless it's all taken apart. So what I can potentially do with this then is get a piece of doweling, broom handle, etc., something like that, that's just a little bit smaller than this cylinder. Insert it all the way down and just try and tap that dent out and make it more cylindrical again. So the piston can travel down, because you can see, yeah, that's where our problem lies. Yeah, where the piston's getting stuck, where that dent is. It looks like the cylinder as well is coming away a little bit from the handle. So what I might try and do is just try and make these indents a little bit more prominent as well, just so there's a little bit, try to get it so there's less movement anyway. The spring guide stopper looks to be in okay condition. Cylinder head, probably could do with a bit of a clean up there. And the piston, oh, that piston has been eaten. Look at the state of that. That piston has been destroyed. Let's have a look at the trigger then. Wait a minute. This is not correct. Can anyone see what the problem here is? I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This trigger has got a 90-degree sear on it, and this piston is a 45-degree piston. So those two are not compatible. This piston, I don't know if this is a stock piston, is it? Is this the piston that comes with the CM702? I don't think it is, to be honest with you. I would imagine these come with a plastic piston. And that somebody has probably thought, I'm going to upgrade my CM702, and they've bought this piston and just shoved it in here without any consideration whether it's compatible or not. Well, I can tell you that it definitely isn't compatible. Let me show you what a 90-degree piston looks like. Here we've got a TAC 41 Wasp piston on the top. Now this is not going to fit in my Cyma CM702. The top one is a 90-degree piston, and the bottom one, the one out of the Cyma, is a 45-degree. Can you see the difference on there? When you pull the bolt back, it pulls the piston back over that sear, pushes the sear back, and then the piston is locked into place by that 90-degree sear on the 90-degree piston. And then when you pull the trigger, it releases and goes forward. But with this, the 45-degree, it pushes back okay, but you can see it's just not going to lock in place. And yeah, that's what's been causing that damage then to the piston. Look at that. I wouldn't mind betting that this led to this somehow. It's going to add money onto the final bill, unfortunately. Definitely a piston. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to pick one of these up for. Guide rings, piston. Oh, there's going to be no budget available to replace that cylinder. Right then, I've got my shopping list. I need to go shopping for airsoft parts. So for me, it's probably going to be a couple of weeks before I pick this video back up again. But by the power of editing, for you, it's going to be a matter of seconds. And we're back. And it's been quite the nightmare, actually. It's been maybe 2 weeks, I think, since a second ago, if that makes sense. I've ordered parts, and parts have came, and parts have been the wrong parts. I've found parts in my loft, and those parts have been the wrong parts too. I don't think I'm making sense here, am I? But I think I've now got the right parts anyway. We're gonna see. If this was a VSR, this would be a very straightforward build. Found a metal bar, which is a perfect fit, really, for the inside of the cylinder. And I've inserted the metal bar, and it's pushed out that dent a little bit. But what I'm now going to do is just take the hammer, just tap it a little bit, just to try and reshape it a little bit better. As I showed you earlier, the back of the cylinder was pulling out just a little bit. It wasn't coming off, but it was pulling out a bit. What I'm going to do is just to take a screwdriver and just reseat these. Just give it a little bit of a tap with a hammer and try and reseat the cylinder better. Let's show you the parts that I've picked up for the 702 then. Well, this was the original piston, the 45-degree piston, which was wrongly installed into the system. So I ordered an M24 piston, which is this one. I don't know what make it is. I think it might be an SHS. This one was kindly sent over to me from Outdoor and Tactical, along with something else I'm about to show you. Well, you can probably see it in the camera there. The guide rings there is a 90-degree piston, but when I came to try the M24 piston into the 702 cylinder, it's just too small. The bore on it isn't wide enough for the cylinder. So yeah, this was unfortunately no good, but thanks to Outdoor and Tactical for sending me that anyway to try. I will be sending that back to them. And they also sent me these guide rings. Now I was looking for guide rings for the 702 platform and I couldn't find them anywhere. I could barely find any. I don't think I did find any actually for the for an M24, let alone the 702. I'd done a bit of measuring up and that, and I thought, do you know what? I think the VSR guide rings may well fit. Measured the cylinder up, measured VSR cylinders, etc. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to risk it. So hopefully the VSR guide rings are probably going to be one of the only VSR parts that fit in this 702. Right, so the piston didn't fit. So then I had a look in my loft, in my attic, whatever you want to call it. If you're American, it's an attic. If you're English, it's a loft. And I realised I had an Northridge piston, and I sort of weighed it up, and I thought, do you know what? That actually looks about the right size as the one that's in it. I know this one shouldn't have been in it anyway, so this was not really one to compare it to. But I thought, do you know what? 90 degree piston, maybe this is going to work. And do you know what? It actually almost had a bit of compression there. It wasn't ideal, but it could have worked. It could have worked. I installed everything, but I couldn't get the sear to catch on the trigger. So then I realised it must be just totally wrong. So that idea went out of the window. Then I looked for a specific piston for the CM702, and that's where I picked up and read a few forum posts and stuff. That's where I picked up this, and it wasn't cheap. I think it cost me £30 to get it hit to my door. 30 quid. I didn't really want to spend 30 quid on this budget build, boneyard build even. I'm selling this rifle as upgraded. Anyway, we're going to get this all sorted, and then I think I'm going to take a look at the hop chamber and see what's what with that, give the barrel a good clean. Let's just put this all back together and see if we've got some compression then, shall we? One thing I've noticed on the cylinder is it's a bit loose, so I'm just going to tighten that up there. Yeah, that was very loose. Yeah, that's very loose on there. That was very loose anyway. Now, before I put the spring and the spring guide in there, I'm going to just see if this needs a bit of a clean out. I think it does. I think it probably does. It does look a bit dirty in there. But let's have a look. Let's get this cotton bud, just run that about in there a bit. Yeah, that's proper filthy in there. Now I'm going to shove in there some rubbing alcohol. Mother that cylinder is sharp as Oh yeah, that's good, isn't it? Put some rubbing alcohol in there. Right, I'll be back because I'm bleeding. Somebody call 999. I'm gonna put some scalper tape on. This stuff is good for everything. Let's get this out of here. I'm going to go and file the edge down on that cylinder because that is just ridiculous. It's getting a good wash out now with some dishwashing detergent and some warm water just to get rid of those metal filings out of there and any excess dirt and grease and grime that's in there really. And now this is nice and blunt and shouldn't go and maim any small children or YouTubers ever again. Let's see if the money I've spent on this piston is going to be worth it. Is it going to fit? Oh, it does fit. It's a nice fit by the looks of things as well. Let's get some silicone grease on that. I'm not going to put too much of this on. Let's just put a little bit on my finger. And I'm going to take that O-ring off. I've probably got a little bit too much there, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's just cover this O-ring. Well, not cover it, but just apply some to the O-ring. Where do I want to put that? I don't want to get it dirty now, any grime on it. We're going to put some around these bits on the piston. I don't know what they're called. I'm sure they've got a name, but it slips my mind now. That should be ample. Let's just wipe a bit of excess off there and put our O-ring back on. Now we don't want any on top of the piston there on the rubber bit. Let's wipe that off. That should be just fine, like that. Wipe my fingers and my poorly thumb. I'm not going to let this drop. Now let's put it in. So this is the cylinder head for it. We're going to give the cylinder head a bit of a clean up as well, because that is pretty damn grubby. Take the O-ring out. I'm just giving that a bit of a bath, and I just got the dirt and the grime off that. Ideally, I'd like to have replaced that O-ring, but unfortunately I don't have one that size, so it's not going to happen. I'm just going to put a little bit of thin silicone oil on that one. Just put it on my finger. Just to give that just a little bit of a rejuvenation. And put that back on the cylinder head. This is awkward. I wouldn't want to do this with a much bigger, much more powerful spring. Oh, there we go, we've got it. Perfect. Okay, let's put it back in the receiver. So hopefully this is going to work awesomely. We can test now for some compression and to see whether that 90-degree piston locks back onto the trigger. This is the money shot. We've locked back, that's a good sign. And there's no, that's not bad. Any compression? Oh yes! Before I go and install that, let's take a look at the hop unit and the barrel and give the barrel a good clean and see what's going on with the hop unit. I'm going to have to take that off there. And these ones. Oh, there we go. I had a Cyma CM702 a long while ago. It was one of my very first reviews on the channel, and it's really cringy looking back on it now. I'll perhaps put a link on it somewhere. Oh, that is, yeah, that's not your traditional VSR type bucking, and it is very greasy as well. So I don't want to go and ruin this actually, because I've got nothing to replace that. I'll be honest, I'm not feeling very comfortable with taking this bucking off of here. There's some kind of C-clip holding it on there, and we've got this plastic ring that goes around there, and I'm worried this plastic ring might be brittle with age, and I don't want to tear the bucking either because I've got nothing to replace this, so I might just go give it a wash. Barrel and the bucking is all spiffing, shiny and newish looking now anyway. Let's put the hop unit all back together now then. I don't think it matters which way it goes around. Yeah, so I think that now should just slot in there like that. Let's just check that alignment one more time now I've tightened that up. You want to be very careful with these, screwing these in, because you're screwing metal screws into plastic, and it would be very easy to cross thread and then just to wreck it. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you. The plastic on it, it would probably be good if it was of better materials maybe. Now some people were asking me about how you remove the end off of one of these. I think there was a comment on one of my old videos recently about the 702, and luckily for me this one was just on finger tight. It screws on counterclockwise and it undoes clockwise. If you are having trouble getting it off, the best way would be to get a hairdryer and just heat it around here, because there's probably going to be some sort of glue on there, and just heat this up. Not this bit, heat this bit up around here, even direct the heat sort of here, because you don't want to, you want this to expand with the heat and break the glue. All right, let's put the hop adjuster arm back on, and again, just be careful, make sure you've got it all aligned properly, because it's a metal screw going into a plastic part. This is the moment where I find out whether I've got all the parts that I need or not. I don't need that yet. I think I need that. I've got some screws here wrapped in some dirty old sellotape. Ew, there's a grey pube. There's pubes in here, man. There's a black pube. Not my pubes. Oh, dirty. So how does this go on then? I'm trying to put this on prematurely. Now this is the time where we check whether these glide rings are worth what I paid for them, which was nothing because Adler & Tactical gave them to me. And it goes over the cylinder perfectly. And we're now going to screw the outer barrel into the receiver. Again, making sure that everything is nicely aligned before you screw it in, because you don't want to thread that outer barrel. That's probably too far. That's as far as it goes. So we're going to back it off. Now this goes on. Is it all in a line? That's not ideal for alignment, really. That looks to be aligned, but I mean, I'm just going by eye here. There's nothing mechanical to keep it aligned, I don't think. That looks about right. Now, have we got the screws for this? Looks like I've got 2 small screws. Are we going to have compression at the barrel? Yes. Now I'm going to put the end cap on. I think it's that acts as like a barrel stabilizer in there. There we go, that sits at the end. Hop seems to be working all right. Everything is screwed in as it should be. It looks promising. Now it's time to put it back in the stock. I think we're all done. That's not a bad bolt pull now. Not bad. That noise. That noise just reminded me. It took me right back to like 2012 or whenever it was. Right, let's go. I'll see you on the field. That's lovely. As well as a boneyard and gameplay video, I kind of wanted this video to be a bit of a review, a revisited review of the Cyma CM702. Like I said, I've reviewed this platform before. It was a long while ago, very cringy video. I did mention I think it was 2012, but it was actually 2015, and it was very, very cringy indeed. Right, well, this is the box, and as you can see, as far as boxes go, well, it's a box. So I just wanted to revisit this. Now, back then, I played with this rifle for a few games, and I don't think I liked this platform much either then, really. And when I got my SRS, it was just like, yeah, goodbye, 702. Didn't look back at all. The SRS was just far superior to the 702 in every way. So what don't I like about the 702 then? Well, the first thing we'll mention is, we can't really call it a pistol grip, can we? You know, the bit where you hold onto to pull the trigger is extremely wide.
Very girthy.
Yeah. Now I think I have normal sized hands for a man. I take a size extra large in gloves, if that means anything. And I don't find it a struggle, but I find it extremely wide compared to a VSR 10 platform. There, I like to have a grip here. That's where I hold it by while I'm crawling. Yeah. And I could only sort of...
Little hands.
Yeah.
Child's hands.
No, I've got big man hands. I think the 702 would suit you better if you had really, really big hands. If you're a child, or a man with small hands, or a lady with small hands, then just forget it. I ate him then. I ate him. Yeah. Another thing is the lack of parts and how expensive parts are for this platform. If you go for a VSR platform, VSR 10s are similar looking platforms. There are parts out there everywhere. So many different parts, and the prices are good as well for them. But with this, there's very few manufacturers make anything for it, and the parts you pay a premium for. Now, the cheapest piston that I found that I wanted to purchase, an aftermarket piston, this is the one that I bought, this Airsoft Pro one, and it was £30 for it. So when it comes to comparing the 702 to a VSR10, the VSR10 wins on parts availability and parts costs hands down. I can't see. You cock it. It hits on the stock. Yeah, I know. On this particular one that I've got, I hated the scope. The scope was horrible. You need a decent scope when you're airsoft sniping. This one, the scope just looked like that somebody had smeared Vaseline all over the lens and it was just all blurry. Really cheap scope, so invest in a good scope if you're going to start airsoft sniping. One thing the 702 has got going for it, after doing my research, I found that the 702 has a bigger cylinder volume than the VSR10, which is handy if you want to run longer barrels and use heavier BBs. But other than that, I really can't think of many positives for this rifle. How did it shoot? Well, it's not going to win any prizes for accuracy or range, but it was okay, I guess. For the cost of these things new, they're about 120 Great British pounds. That's in my country. They're probably cheaper elsewhere around the world. I know Cyma do the CM701, and that 701 platform was far better in my opinion than this 702. So in all, do I recommend the 702? Hell no. Get the 701 or get a VSR10 platform if you're looking at this shape of rifle. If you're looking at a budget rifle, maybe push the boat out a little bit more and spend a bit more money and get maybe a TAC 41 Light Sport. As always, at the end of these videos, I always sell the rifle. I listed it in a few different places on a few WhatsApp groups and used airsoft.co.uk, and it took about 4 days, and then a nice guy called Ben, he wanted to come and have a look at it. So he drove 60 miles to come and look at the platform, and I explained everything that I wasn't really that happy about and that I'd done to it, and he was happy and he took it. £90 I got for it, so made £10 profit. So as always, that £10 is going to go to charity, and this episode's charity is again a favourite of mine, the Dogs Trust. If you enjoyed this style of video, then there's a couple more on this channel that you may well like that are very similar to this. And please give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel to grow and let YouTube know that you appreciated the video and stuff. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next episode.